The Russian Revolution was a series of events in the early 20th century that led to the overthrow of the Tsarist autocracy and the establishment of a communist government. It was marked by two main phases, the February Revolution and the October Revolution of 1917. To understand the revolution's complexity, it's essential to explore the socio-political and economic conditions that set the stage for the upheaval. Socio-economic conditions. By the early 20th century, Russia was an enormous empire stretching across Europe and Asia, ruled by the Romanov dynasty for over 300 years. However, the vast majority of Russians lived in poverty, working as peasants under a feudal system that had only been abolished in 1861. Despite emancipation, former serfs remained tied to the land through oppressive debt obligations and struggled with minimal economic opportunities. Industrialization in the late 19th and early 20th centuries brought some modernization but also led to the growth of an urban working class facing harsh conditions in factories. The gap between the rich and poor widened, creating fertile ground for revolutionary ideas. Political climate. Politically, Russia was an autocracy under Tsar Nicholas II, who believed in the divine right of kings. The government was highly centralized, with little input from the populace. Nicholas II's reign was marked by political repression, censorship, and a lack of meaningful reform. The disastrous Russo-Japanese War, 1904–1905, and the 1905 Revolution, which saw widespread strikes and uprisings, further eroded confidence in the Tsarist regime. Though the Tsar made concessions, such as the creation of the Duma, a parliamentary body, he retained ultimate power, undermining any true democratic progress. The February Revolution. The catalyst for the February Revolution was the immense strain placed on Russian society by World War I. The war exacerbated food shortages, led to millions of casualties, and further discredited the Tsarist government due to military failures and poor logistics. In February 1917, March in the Gregorian calendar, protests erupted in Petrograd, modern-day St. Petersburg, over food rationing. What began as a series of demonstrations by workers quickly escalated into a full-blown revolution. Soldiers, initially sent to suppress the protesters, eventually joined them. The Duma defied the Tsar's orders to dissolve and instead formed a provisional committee. On March 2, 1917, Tsar Nicholas II abdicated, ending over 3 centuries of Romanov rule. The provisional government and dual power. Following the abdication, a provisional government was established, led initially by Prince Georgy Lvov and later by Alexander Kerensky. This government aimed to create a democratic state, promising reforms and a constituent assembly to determine Russia's future. However, the provisional government had to share power with the Petrograd Soviet, a council representing workers and soldiers. This dual power structure led to ongoing conflicts and paralyzed effective governance. The Soviets, influenced by socialist ideologies, demanded more radical changes, including an immediate end to the war, which the provisional government hesitated to implement. The October Revolution. Amidst this turmoil, the Bolshevik Party, led by Vladimir Lenin, gained influence by promising peace, land, and bread. Lenin's return from exile in April 1917 marked a turning point. The Bolsheviks appealed to war-weary soldiers, disenfranchised workers, and peasants eager for land redistribution. By October 1917, the Bolsheviks had garnered significant support. On the night of October 25 to 26, November 6 to 7 in the Gregorian calendar, they launched a coup against the provisional government. The Bolsheviks seized key infrastructure and stormed the Winter Palace, the seat of the provisional government, with relatively little bloodshed. Aftermath and Civil War. The Bolshevik takeover was only the beginning. Lenin and the Bolsheviks had to consolidate power in a country still rife with opposition. In 1918, the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk ended Russia's involvement in World War I, but this peace came at the cost of significant territorial concessions to Germany. Russia soon plunged into a brutal civil war between the Red Army, Bolsheviks, and the White Army, anti-Bolshevik forces, which included monarchists, liberals, and foreign interventionists. The Civil War, which lasted until 1922, resulted in widespread destruction and loss of life but ultimately ended in a Bolshevik victory, leading to the formation of the Soviet Union in 1922.